Hello there.
G'day, it's Saint here with Kensington 25 here in Taylor Square. You can hear the traffic here and look at the view that we have. We can see all the way to the Moore Memorial at Cafe Cubana in Taylor Square, which is very similar to the other Cafe Cubana in King's Cross. This one's a little different, has a different ambience. I go here because it goes with my fedora really well, and I've been sitting here on this beautiful club lounges here, and I feel like I'm on a throne that looks all the way down there, like it's my empire. And this is your empire, though, William. This is where you live.
It is. This is my locality. I live just behind the street over there. I'm not going to say which street, but it's very close to Oxford Street. Hope you're all well. Now, definitely like a throne he's just had, as I just showed you, and we really are in the centre of things here. Great view. But what should we talk about today? I reckon we should talk about the controversy over Hey It's Saturday, as it's got quite a few YouTubers a little bit wound up. What do you think, Fletcher?
Well, I think for our channels, we're steering away from making too many political statements, but analytically, William's channel, William's the bicycle, William's the David Attenborough of the YouTube, so we'll give a geography of what's happening. In terms of Australia, there has not been one response to this. It has been a very divided response, particularly from YouTube. Okay, from what I know, for the people that I know, okay, the first response that I saw was from that Aussie bastard, who was very critical of Harry Connick Jr. and his stand was that it wasn't racist at all. There was also a response from Little Galah, who said something very similar, and on the other side, there was Angry Aussie from Melbourne, who took a view from a more southern or a more sort of progressive or younger approach, which understood Harry Connick Jr.'s position and the situation where the world has changed. The hey idea is an old idea, and sympathised more with Harry Connick Jr. that yes, Daryl Summers, Fletcher and I did apologise, everybody apologised, and they did the wrong thing, but they all apologised, and it should be the end of the story. And David, DCT Cool in Brisbane, is on similar lines to Angry Aussie. So we have completely two different approaches here. As far as I know, there might be more YouTube responses.
But what's your approach?
My approach, I probably tend to agree more with Angry Aussie and DCT Cool. I do think that Channel 9 and Daryl Summers did the wrong thing. They admitted they did the wrong thing, and they apologised for it. And at first I was really annoyed with them, but then I looked at it again and again, and I saw that they were genuinely sorry for it. I don't think there was a stunt to promote Harry Connick Jr. I don't believe that at all. I think he was genuinely embarrassed. I don't think it was the last thing he needed. He's had controversies in America, from drugs to alcohol to a previous movie. God knows what. This was the last thing he needed in America, and I think he really was embarrassed. So it was not a stunt, and I really felt sorry for Harry as well. But yeah, people did apologise. It was, that's what I think.
I think I'm inclined to agree with you and Angry Aussie on this. I'm not saying it was racist in any way. In fact, I don't believe they intended to be racist, but I do think it was badly thought out. But before you even start the racist arguments, my big issue is the fact it wasn't even funny. This was supposed to be a comedy act. It wasn't in the slightest bit funny or amusing. And for me, that's the biggest crime, beyond racism, beyond anything. Why the hell was that put there? I know they performed many years ago, but it wasn't in the vaguest bit amusing or entertaining. And before we even discuss the racism, that is the issue for me. So why take a risk with something that really does not work? But it's just a failure. But it's just amusingly bad.
I think Channel 9 knew that this was going to be very risky, probably not to the extent that it happened. I think they were a bit shocked. And the shock is that how far Australia has gone in the last decade, which is the opposite to what the US is saying. The US is saying that we are backward. But what has really happened, and this is why the country is so divided, is the country has changed so much in the last few decades that half of Australia is so vehemently anti-racist and sensitive about this, and the other half doesn't really care. And so I think that this is something that has brought out from this. And what is really tasteless about this is it was from Michael Jackson. It's just too soon after his death, and that's really, laughing in the face of a family and friends after a funeral, which was not that long ago. That's just really in poor taste as well. And like you said,
I would agree with that. I just think it was a bad idea, and I don't think that it has anything to do with political correctness at all. I just think it was in bad taste. It wasn't funny, it wasn't amusing, and the act itself really failed. But the one thing I think that has been done that is good is it has put the issue of racism and television on the agenda, and what is acceptable and what is not. And I think that's in many ways healthy. It's opened up a discussion and a debate.
I think that's what I was trying to say before, was that the same act was played on Hey Hey about 10 to 15 years ago. Excuse me. It was on a segment called Red Faces. They actually won back then. They actually won. This time when it was shown, it lost. It got 1-0. Red gave it 3. They forgot that. Red gave it 3. The woman from Queensland in the middle, as Queenslanders do, didn't care. I think she gave them an 8. Dum-dum, So,
I say nothing.
That's what they used to call her. So, she was called Dum Dum, and she is. So, she had no idea what's going on, as people do.
Who am I to disagree?
As other Queenslanders don't seem to get. And I can see why David was so nervous about making a statement. I don't think he's nervous now, but there was one YouTuber, Graham, mentioned that most Australians thought that it was not racist. But the problem is most Australians voted to go to Iraq. But it takes Australians a while to think about what actually happened. And I can feel a turnaround on this as well. And the interesting thing is when Australians turn around is they deny what they said a week before. That, oh, no, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. And that's going to be really interesting to watch too.
I think that's a pretty good point you just made there. Anything else you want to add, Fletcher?
No, I've probably said too much already, but I hope I haven't offended anybody. I'm trying to be as analytical as I can. Please don't be offended by this. And it's lovely here being in Cuba, and there's a lovely picture of Fidel Castro when he's younger up there. And so we're going to smoke a few cigars, and we're not even going to talk about this anymore.
End of. But if you've got a comment, do please make a comment. It's really got people talking. It's an interesting issue. There's many wider issues to do with this. But indeed, we're going to have a few cigars. I'll talk to you later. Smoking.